including Greater Cincinnati's own Kaza Kingsley. Welcome, Kaza.
Thanks, Mina.
Great to have you here. My first question is, how did you first get into writing?
Well, I've written my entire life. It's one of the things for me that's one of the funnest things that I can do. So I did it from as far back as I can remember. I first wrote a book when I was in about third grade. It was nothing I'd want to show to anybody, but I've always enjoyed it. And I think I had some really good teachers when I was young that encouraged me, so I really credit a lot to them.
So you always knew you were going to be a writer just from the start?
Yeah, I basically did. I have a friend who's also a fellow writer, a science fiction writer, who once told me that writing is almost like a disease, that any normal, sane person probably wouldn't want to come home at the end of a long day of work and sit down in front of a computer and just write and write. But I find it so rewarding and wonderful that, yeah, to me it's something I couldn't do without.
Did you read a lot of fantasy when you were younger?
You know, I did. I had a big love for fantasy. My favorite series when I was younger was the Wizard of Oz series. You probably have heard of the movie,
right.
The Wizard of Oz. There's a whole series of books, 14 of them, by L. Frank Baum, and they were incredible. When I was young, I think, believed it was true, that there really was this magical place, and it just, totally got me. It made me completely excited about it, and I loved the the Narnia books, and I mean, there's so many. I read as much as I could. I love fantasy. I still love fantasy. I still read everything I can in that genre.
Eric Rex, which you've written, is an entire series. There's going to be 8 books, and it's really magical, much like Harry Potter. How did you come up with this world?
Well, it took a long time. Before I even started writing, I plotted the entire series out, and I plotted the books in pretty good detail. But before I even did that, I, for years, would jot down ideas that would occur to me of fun things that I would think of, and I just had a good time with it. I think that, to me, is the secret, is having fun with what you're writing and coming up with.
So in your novels, you include some inventions, I guess I would call them, like inquisiles. Can you talk about those?
Yeah, sure. When I invent things in my world, a lot of times it's because it's something I really want. The inquisile is a prize that some of the kids received for doing well in a contest in this book. And an inquisile is a magical globe-like ball with swirling gases inside of it, and you touch it, or if you pick it up, if you ask a question, it answers yes or no. It disappears in a poof of smoke, and it gives you an answer yes or no. Well, I would love to have something that if I could say, will my book do really well, or have, whatever the question is that's on my mind, just give me an answer like that. But there was a poor kid who picked it up and said, is this an inquisile? And it poofed and said yes, and that was, there went his only shot. I have fun with things like that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
What character are you most like in Eric Rex?
There's a girl named Bethany who is very much like me. I do try to, really none of my characters in either of my books are based on any one real person. Generally, they're combinations of people or somewhat inventions. There is a good friend of mine who loved the first book and begged me to be a character in the second book, and so I said, okay. And he came out to be, I don't know if you could see the cover of book 2, there's a monster on the cover of book 2. He was related to that monster on the cover of book 2. He was not human, but I kept my promise. I have a good time with that kind of thing.
So what do you feel the role of literature is in your life?
It's been very, very big in my life. To me, it's more than just a fun escape. To me, it's being able to use my imagination. And also when I read other people's stories and books, there is just no end to how much you can learn and gain from being able to enter someone else's mind and perspective. I find it wonderful.
Why do you write for a younger audience?
Well, I, in a way, feel like I can't really help who I write for, because you're so drawn to do a certain thing. I can't imagine writing another genre. This is just something I'm so drawn to do. But one of the wonderful things is the enthusiasm, because I think a lot of adults who, love books still don't get as enthusiastic as the kids do. I get some amazing fan mail and email saying, I read your first book 14 times and I can't wait. And I think that's just such a nice thing. I don't think adult, writers get that as much.
What do you want the reader to get out of your books?
I think two things. First, I really, really want my books to be a safe escape, a place for my readers to go and enjoy and be able to get away from whatever they are dealing with in day-to-day life and have a fun, nice fantasy escape. But there's another thing too. In my books, there are themes that I would love for people to come away with. My second book, which is Eric Rex, The Monsters of Otherness, there are themes of prejudice and acceptance that run through the books. And I would love for people to come away feeling a little more like they, have a little better understanding or feeling for what some people may go through.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is actually tied to the title, The Monsters of Otherness. Otherness has several layers to it. So,
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Because a lot of fantasy is just sort of entertainment. Oh, look, the dragons, pretty colors, interesting things. But I like how your books go a little deeper.
Thank you. And book one, Eric Rex, The Dragon's Eye, touches a little bit on self-discovery and belief in yourself. So that's something that I also hope readers will take away.
What do you love about being a writer?
Oh, everything. To me, when I write, when I get into it, it's almost like reading or watching a movie. It's just it's such a great feeling. It's just a nice, relaxed, almost escape-like feeling. But also, on the other end of it, getting to meet a lot of fans and people on my book tour has been incredible. So that is kind of the other perk, the other good side of it, is being able to get out there and meet people who are readers who really enjoy it.
What do you like about writing in Cincinnati?
Well, Cincinnati has a very special place because I live here in Cincinnati, and Cincinnati has some really amazing spirit. I really, really enjoy it here. I mean, of course, we're very lucky. We've got, the Ohio River and, a lot of beautiful views and great places, and kind of one of those, has almost everything or pretty much everything in a big city, yet not too overcrowded.
Right.
So it's kind of nice. I think we're lucky.
Who have you found to be a life role model in your writing career?
That's tough because I think most authors that I've read serve as somewhat role models to me in a way, although I might say, in a sense, maybe some of my teachers that I had when I was really young that were encouraging to me probably were the biggest role models of all, because they were the ones that said, it doesn't matter, if this isn't how you want it, do it again, make it, or just go with your imagination, and whatever you write, is okay. Don't put limits on it. So I think those are some of the best role models that I've had.
You've planned out the series to be 8 different books.
Yeah.
So after you finish this, do you think you'll still keep writing a different series, or?
I'm sure that I will. I know that I will, because I'm really happiest when I write. I find that sometimes lately there's so much going on. I'm starting a book tour. I'm going to be traveling to the East Coast very soon, and the West Coast. I'm going to be all over. But it's a good day when I get to write. When I have a few hours at least that I can sit down and get some writing done, then I just feel better. It's a great day for me. So I can't imagine giving that up, no matter what.
Where do you get your ideas for all of your plot ideas, characters, inventions?
Some of my favorite ways are to just put myself in a really good frame of mind. One of the things that I like to do when I start to write, and this is kind of a habit, sometimes you'll find writers have these little, habits or things that they get into. I eat chocolate, and I'm serious, I do this every time. I get some really good chocolate. So a lot of times I get organic, big chocolate, bars with things in them that I like, and some herbal tea or some green tea, and those are just things I like. And so it kind of gets me in the right frame of mind. I get excited about, I've got everything there, and then I've got my laptop, and I like to go different places sometimes if I can go to bookstores and write, or outside, and just be in a nice place. And then I just feel like centered and good, and then the ideas just come. Sometimes it's good. Just I find also, in a way, it's almost like lifting weights. The more you get into the creative side of your mind, the better you get at it, the quicker it comes. Because I also find that when I'm away from it for a while, like if for some reason a few weeks goes by and I'm busy and I haven't had time to write, then it's harder. I don't get into it as fast. I stare at the screen longer. The ideas aren't flowing. And then, but the more you do it, the easier it gets, then it comes quicker and quicker. And it's fun. It's been really a good way for me to get ideas.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Sure. Thanks.
Be sure to look for Kaza Kingsley at Books by the Banks on November 3rd at the Duke Energy Center, and celebrate Children's Book Week at your local library.